What's up, YouTube? Kedris here. This is my match reaction to Nottingham Forest 1, Porto 1. Now, we had a scrappy affair at Porto where we came away with a draw, which I think is a win for most fans. And we're going to be going back to the City Ground for the return leg with a real opportunity to advance in this competition and maybe even get to the final. Obviously, there's a lot of division in the fan base over a lot of things. So I want to talk about that. Also want to talk about what happened inside the game. A lot of controversy there as well, mostly due to a certain striker and a certain goalkeeper. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. But I'm rambling. So let's get into it. So this is the teams that played in the game. We got Porto on the left, Nottingham Forest on the right. As always, I will start with Porto and the team overall. I think they played a decent game. I really do think they should have probably came away from this game probably about 4-0, maybe 4-1 ahead. I don't know what our reaction would have been. It would have been going down like 3-0, but they definitely had the opportunities to create goals and just for some reason did not do it. Starting at the back with Costa, I think he had a solid game. His distribution was really good. He was calm under pressure. Really, the goal had nothing to do with him. We'll talk about that in a second. Moving to the center backs, Bednarek, I think he struggled distribution-wise. Defensively, though, he was decent. And Thiago Silva, man, you see Thiago Silva, and you just think about the Chelsea days. Man, that was such a while ago where they were so dominant, so prominent. Good times, man. Good times. Moving to the fullbacks, I think they did a really good job of locking down our wingers. I think the only chance that was really created was from back when making a cross that kind of went over everyone's head, and then Ndoye had one time where he cut inside, beat like two people, and then shot it into the chest of somebody, and nothing came from it. So they had our wingers on lock. I was really disappointed with Ndoye and Back's performance against them. Martine, the top goal scorer for Nottingham Forest in this game. I don't know. He just didn't check where the goalkeeper was when he made that back pass. And then shortly thereafter got injured and subbed off. I feel bad for players when that happened to them, even though it's an opposing team player. Because at the end of the day, everyone's human. They're all athletes, and stuff like that really destroys your mentality. Really gets into your psyche because you feel like you let the team down. It's nobody else's fault but your own, and I feel that. I really do. I'm a really empathetic person in that regard. So it sucks for Martine. The guy who replaced him was Alberto Costa. He played a solid game, had Ndoye on lock, except for, that one opportunity I'm talking about. The midfield was very meh. Didn't really control the game. A lot of their control and chances really came down the wing side. Not really in the middle of the park. I don't know if that was because we were blocking it out so much or what, but overall, I think a lot of their chances, they got a lot of good chances cutting in, especially on in Morato's side, where he just, man, Morato's just, I'm not going to talk about him. Anyways, moving to the striker, Mafi, I think he was the best Nottingham Forest player on the pitch. He had multiple opportunities, multiple chances where, he got clean headers, clean strikes of the ball. One time, even early in the game, one-on-one with the keeper, and he just put it down the middle every single time. He had one shot that was kind of off to the side a little bit, but to be honest, completely frank with you, any decent goalkeeper should have saved that. It was very central. None of the shots were at either post. None of them were in the corner. For us, it was just an easy game in regards to his shot selection. I think he really kind of squandered their chances. Should have came away 3-0, 4-0 with the chances they had and the chances that we did not create, really. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty mediocre performance. I thought they would be a lot more dominating. I think the game should have ended 2-1. But, the own goal was really dumb, really stupid mistake. So, it is what it is. Froholt came on. He affected the match in a positive way. He had that shot that went a little wide of the post. Ghoul, honestly, I didn't really remember him doing anything. Pepe cut inside, had a really good shot a couple times. Morato, Anyways, and then Varela came on, the midfielder. Didn't really affect the game much. I don't honestly feel like, I mean, they had like one or two clean cut opportunities they should have scored from, but overall, I feel like they didn't really create that much when it comes to dominating the game. They didn't really do that. So, probably a really bad performance for them, being that it's at home and they were slated to win 2-0 and kind of walked away with 1-1 instead. Moving on to the Forest team and the start of controversy. We have two sections of the fan base right now, which I like to call playfully the Trophy Hawks and the League Doves. You can copyright. I'm just kidding. You can use it if you want to. But to me, you got two sides of the same coin, but from different perspectives. You have the Trophy Hawk fans who are like, man, we haven't won in a long time. We need a trophy. It's going to make us relevant. It's going to make players want to come play for us. It's going to make the players feel more invested in the club, feel like they can do more and push forward more. And you have the league doves who are like, no, we need to stay in the league. We need to keep our position because it secures financial security for the club to progress in a positive direction moving forward. And as everyone probably knows, I find myself in the League Doves faction most of the time. This game in particular, I actually agree with the Warhawks when that the lineup was not correct, but for a different reason than they probably have. And this is the reason for my disagreement. This is the team that played against Michelin in that second leg. The team that absolutely bopped them off the park, and the team that I think should have played again. I'm going to be completely frank for you. The worst player on the pitch to me yesterday, besides Morato, was Morgan Gibbs White. And this is the team that had so much cohesion, so much togetherness, so much energy when they came and played that I feel like this should have been the team that started and had a kind of a run back. Maybe you could say Luca not play and Chris Wood should play. But I actually think Luca did contribute a lot in that match. And to me, this is the team that should have played. Chris Wood, as much as I loved seeing him on the pitch, didn't contribute absolutely anything to that game. And on top of that, I think he was actually detrimental a lot to how we defended because he would drop back into the midfield to help defend. And then what it does is allow the center backs to step up further and further and push us deeper and deeper into our own half or what turned into from a mid block to a low block at times. You can't do that. And you immediately saw that change when Igor Jesus came on. He maintained a higher line. It forced the center backs to be a little bit more honest. And it allowed the players to defend a lot better. I mean, obviously, except for Morato. And I just really think this is the team we should have gone with. Murillo, for me, he is not a center back in a three back formation. He's not aerially dominant enough like Milinkovic. He's not commanding enough. Yes, Murillo's best trait is that he's like what you would call a sweeper. He is really good at cleaning up messes. He's really good at like being pacey on the ball. But Milinkovic and the player that you want in that position is a stopper. A stopper is someone who wins the aerial duels. He might not be as athletic as a sweeper, but they are really, really good at just being physical and being where they need to be and controlling the game. So I think that was a really big part of it and why we kind of had a lot of opportunities, especially in the first half. And I just think that this is the team that we should have gone with. This was the team that seemed to click together and the team that was dominant. And honestly, I have the same thought then as I do now, which is that when we brought or we had the first team player on, they really negatively affected the game more than these other guys. Talking about our players, I'm going to start with Stefan Ortega. Great game. A lot of the saves were easy saves. He should have had them. I do think he should have been able to judge those balls that went across the 6 yard box a lot better. I feel like for both of them, the goal, and then they had another chance where it went across from the right to the left. He really, really misjudged it a lot. And the reason that causes him to step out towards the ball, misjudge it, and then step back into the goal and then have to scramble across. And that is why we conceded the goal the first time. The second time, a good blocks prevented the goal from being scored. But I do think the 8.6 score is a little high for what he was actually asked to do, but I loved his distribution. He was very calm under pressure. He played out from the back incredibly well. Uh, I mean, 8.6 is fine. I would say he would be man of the match for me, followed closely by Dominguez. Moving on to center back, Murillo. I've already said my piece on him. Abbott, I think Abbott really struggled at times in this game, especially later on. He kept letting balls bounce in front of him, and then there was times where the ball he just did a Morato, he just misjudged it, and it kind of went behind him. I think the nerves maybe might have got to him or something because when the guys played against Michelin, they were kind of very carefree. It was like, okay, well, the first team made us lose, so we're just going here to kind of prove something. Maybe the nerves crept in this game. He had really good dribbles at times. The distribution not so good this game. Put the ball out of bounds a couple times. I actually liked that in the first game because against Michelin because I was like, is your like first start, just get the ball away, get it out of danger. In this game, there's kind of some chances where he had an opportunity to play Bakwa in, and he didn't really do it. So a little bit of a struggle. Morazzo, honestly, I don't even want to talk to him. I've said my piece on him. He needs to go. That's all I want to say. Moving to the wingers, Bakwa and Ndoye. I think these scores are very flattering. For me, they didn't do enough. Bakwa especially. Actually, both of them. Why can you not win 1v1? Like I'm like really, really starting to get frustrated a lot that these two guys who are touted as very good wingers just don't seem to win. I mean, like, why are you not winning duels? Like you 1v1 and Bakwa felt like it passed the ball backwards every single time he got it. Like, go, you dude, use your pace, kick the ball past the player, run onto it. Like, eh, I just I don't understand what the hell he's doing, and it just pisses me off. And Doy, I don't expect him to really beat anybody, but I mean he did once. But at least try, you know, at least make a run, at least try to poke the ball past, like do something. I mean, to be frank, as well, I felt like we were playing for a draw that whole game. From the start of the match, I felt like the mindset was, all right, guys, let's just minimize the damage. And I even said so in my watch along. Moving in the midfield, Dominguez, great again. Passing was excellent. Defensive work, great. I for Yatesy, I don't think he was bad per se, but he wasn't. This is one of those games where Yatesy just kind of disappeared. Like he didn't really notice him. He didn't really do much. He wasn't involved. Kind of turned the ball over a couple times. He made a good, decent pass a couple times. It was anonymous. And that happens sometimes with Yatesy. That's why I've always said I think he's a niche player, a good player. I would love to have him always, but he's not a starter. He disappeared in this game. I don't think his score being so low is correct. I think he'd probably bang average, maybe like a 6.0 or a 6.1, but it's fine. Moving to the 10s, Morgan Gibbs White and McAtee. McAtee was probably the best creative outlet for us in the game. He was creating chances. He didn't make a couple passes I thought he should have made in the final third. I don't know what his thought process was. He had a long shot that was kind of, I wouldn't say easy to save, but it was very telegraphed. So the keeper was able to get across and save it. Morgan Gibbs White, to me, the worst player on the pitch yesterday. I just he has these excellent games. So you just had like 2 or 3 months of excellent games, and then he goes and does that. Like that, losing the ball a lot, bad passes, just not finding positions, not getting into. He wasn't getting into the box. He kept dropping deep, which I think is fine for build up. But then he would stay deep. He wouldn't make the runs inside the box. I don't understand how he can be so good sometimes and then so bad sometimes. It's really confusing to watch. People call him a maverick, like a Cherky type maverick 10. I don't feel like he has the quality, like the ceiling of Cherky, and he's a lot more erratic in when he shows up. And he really, really did not show up for that match yesterday. Honestly, I think it would be fair to switch Yates and Gibbs White's score, to be frank. Moving on to Cristiano with Dino. I had a lot to say in the watch along about him, and I said it previously when I was talking about the Porto team. So outside of that, it was good to see him on the pitch. It was good to see him play. I agreed with pulling him off at the 45 minutes. You can say that he had 45 minutes against the under 21s, but I think it was just we just need to protect him as much as we can. He was doing way too much, and I didn't. Maybe he knew that he was going to get pulled at halftime. That's why he did so much. But I think it didn't really help the team in the way that he intended. We're not the low block counterattacking team of last season. We are a mid block. We can have possession. We can pass the ball. Really, our biggest struggle is in the final third. Everything else we do is actually really good. So we didn't need him to be doing that, dropping in. And yeah, good to see him again. Moving to the bench, start with the halftime substitutions. Nikola Milinkovic, Igor Jesus, both came on, both affected the game positively when they came on. Milinkovic immediately, we started being really controlling when it comes defensively, especially for crosses. We pretty much, they had opportunities from crosses in the first half and had basically none in the second half. The defense felt more organized. The opportunities they really had came from Morato and Abbott, or not really Abbott. Abbott stepped up in the second half, but Murata really, really getting done again and again. His positioning was bad. I need to stop. I need to stop. I need to stop. All right. Igor Jesus came in. He did what I talked about earlier. He held the line higher up the pitch. I really think that his goal that he scored should have been a goal. The official ruling for that, funny enough, was actually a handball. So apparently, when he kicked the ball, and he did get the ball when the goalkeeper went for it, it kicked up, and his hand was like held out like this, and it hit his hand, and then dropped to the floor. And that's what they're saying the handball was. For me, based on the new handball rules and how it's been interpreted this season, it didn't lead to a direct score and it was incidental. He got the ball on the ground. There was two or three defenders between him and the goal and he still scored it. To me, that counts as a goal. But I'm not going to sit here and bitch about it, especially when we got gifted a goal from Martin doing that own goal. I'm not someone who's going to cry about refereeing. I'm one of the few people who actually think the referee did a decent job. Felt like kind of got a little biased at the end of the game. But overall, I think he let everybody play. I think he let a lot of fouls go for us and for them. And to me, he had a good performance. I liked the refereeing. I liked the way the players were allowed to play. I liked the way that the game was allowed to be physical. I don't prescribe to the notion that he was biased in his refereeing, maybe a little bit towards the end. But overall, I think he was very fair in how he judged that match. Moving on to Nico Williams and Amari Hutchinson. Both of them came on. Both of them had a positive effect on the game. Amari looked like he was active and ready to get on the ball. I think if we would have had Omari from the beginning of the game might have been a little bit different when it comes to passing quality and everything. I really, really did not like Mick Morgan Gibbs White's performance. But both of them had positive effects on the game. Nico Williams put in a couple decent crosses. Amari Hutchinson had the cross to Igor Jesus, a brilliant little dink cross that Igor was able to get away from the keeper, and he should have scored. And both of them had positive impacts on the game and really kind of showed a more directness that was missing, a more increase in quality that wasn't there before. Finally, we had Ibrahim Sangari come on, and when he came on, we kind of lost the cohesiveness and the impetus to go forward, and that kind of resulted in us being pinned in our own half for a good portion of the last 15 minutes of the game. Not his fault at all. He was very good defensively, he covered very well, had good decent tackles. His passing wasn't too bad. He lost the ball like once or twice in really weird areas, but I mean, we all know at this point that Ibrahim is not a sub player. He's a player that you either start or you don't because he needs to get into the game. He needs to be there in the rhythm. He's not a player that can just immediately get in and adapt to the match. He is a player that needs to be in it the whole game and needs to be able to kind of have the time to work his way and feel his way into the match. And I think that's really my he's a great player, and that is my analysis of him. Moving on to Vitor Pereira. I think obviously I already talked about my thoughts on the lineup, but I can't really blame him for that. I mean, Morgan Gibbs White at the end of the day is the captain, so you play him. But I mean, there's a lot of people that are giving him slack because he said that at halftime he made the substitutions thinking about the Aston Villa game. But I mean, if you really think back to the Michelin game, he did the exact same thing. He subbed Luca for Igor. Igor didn't start because he was thinking about the next match. He subbed Milinkovic for Murillo. He did the exact same substitutions against Michelin. And I honestly, even in the Michelin game, when he made those two subs for starters, it felt like the game went. Murillo is just not a center back for me. I'm sorry, he's just not. He can't play that position. Next time, I would. I hate to say. I hate to say this. I really do. I would probably put Morato on the right and put Abbott in the middle, or put Morato in the middle. It's just Murillo is just not a center back in a back three. This that it doesn't work, guys. Anyway, so I got rambling there. He did fine for me. I think priority rise, he got it right because it was a draw. If he would have lost like 3-0, maybe you could say that there's some controversy. But to me, being a league dove, I think he got it correct. I understand a lot of people want a trophy. I understand a lot of people are irked by his decision to prioritize the league. But at the end of the day, guys, it's about the longevity of the club. And I'm going to keep saying this. I'm going to keep harping on this. You know, I don't want my future kids and their kids to suffer the 23 years in the championship, which I only experienced 8 years of it. So the people that experienced the full 23, oof, I don't want them to experience that. I want us to stay in the Premier League. I want us to continue to build, continue to go up in quality, work our way towards being good enough to constantly be not in this relegation battle, to constantly be mid-table and then push for Europe eventually. We're a European powerhouse club from olden days. We haven't been around for a while. And we haven't been around for a while. And I know people are starving for some silverware. But really, that's my thought process is that, yes, I would like to see a trophy. Yes, I don't want to be, like people like Arsenal fans who back Arteta and it's like, oh, we haven't seen a trophy in 6 years. I want to see a trophy, I really do, but I don't want it to be at the detriment of the future of the club. And as much as people are looking forward to us being in the Champions League, for us being back, I don't think and this might be terrible to say, I do not think if we got in the Champions League for next season that we would have a realistic chance to compete for a Champions League title. Looking at PSG, looking at Barcelona, looking at shit, even Arsenal, kinda. Do you think even if we keep all the players we have a real shot of beating those teams? Really? Do you really? So, when you want us to be in the Champions League, one, it's a nostalgia thing. And two, it's a brag thing. You want to have bragging rights. You want to be able to talk about being in the Champions League, which I get it. It's something that everyone should experience once in their lifetime. Something you want to talk about for years. But at the end of the day, I don't. I'm not a nostalgic person in that regard. And so I just want security, and that is kind of how I live my life as well. I'm more safe and more worried about like financial security, being secure in what I do, and maybe that affects how I look at football as well. So that wraps it up. I went on a little bit of a tangent there. Sorry about that. And if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. I will be doing a match preview video for Aston Villa tomorrow. And overall, I think it was a good result. Decent. I wouldn't say decent performance. It was kind of underwhelming, but it was good enough. And we go into this Aston Villa game with Aston Villa having played a lot, and we are having most of our players rested. We should get a performance. We should get a result. We should see the tactics that Peter Pereira has worked on with the players over the break. And I understand a lot of people are like, well, Pereira has put unnecessary pressure on this game. I think the players are under pressure regardless because we're in a relegation battle. They're under pressure every single week to perform. I expect Elliot Anderson to absolutely go ham in this Aston Villa game. I think he will show up and show out, having rested even more, having suffered that suspension and not been able to play against Porto. I think he's going to really show his stuff, and I think we're going to get a really good result. If not a draw, a win. But I mean, that could be me talking. In regards to, I've seen some arguments about, well, these are professional players; they should be able to play 2 games a week. Listen, there is what should be happening and what is happening. And what should be happening is, yes, professional players should be able to play 2 games a week, especially if they want to go play at bigger clubs. But the reality is, if you're not accepting it, I'm sorry. Maybe go see a therapist. These players cannot play 2 games a week and be effective in both games. It is reality. It is fact. It is proven time and time and again this season. So as much as people want to cry, bitch, and complain and be like, "Oh, these players, they should be able to play 2 games a week. They should, shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. They don't. I'm sorry, and you gotta live with that and deal with it." Right? That's it for me, guys. Still here, Sport Club. We'll have that match preview tomorrow, and come on, you Reds.